So if you're looking for something extremely hard to build around and that would be challenging, boy howdy, we got one for you because we're talking about Vivillon. And honestly, Vivillon does have a lot working against its favor. Its typing and its stats are definitely two of its biggest obstacles. Its highest stat is 90, and yeah, bug flying is painful to work around. But hey, although you might have an easier time going through the 12 labors of Hercules, let's talk about this bug here because nobody will see them coming in. Honestly, while this thing won't be winning any regionals anytime soon, I do think it would be funny to see Vivillon actually work in a team. And honestly, I kind of want to build one myself. So anyways, Vivillon here, as far as its stats go, it has 80 HP, 52 attack, 50 in both of its defenses, 90 in its special attack, and then 89 speed. And while 90 and 89 are not the highest numbers out there, this thing does have some nice tools in its move pool that can help support it and its partners to definitely get around that. But we did mention its typing being another obstacle, and let's dive into that here. Let's dissect this, and it is the bug flying type. So while it does have an immunity to ground, it does have 4 times resistances to fighting and grass as well, which is nice. And even the resistance to bug is not terrible. Its weaknesses are very painful. It's weak to fire, ice, electric, and flying. Essentially stuff that would be, not flattering for butterflies to deal with in reality. Yeah, that's Vivillon's weaknesses. And don't even get me started on what happens if you throw a rock at this thing. But who throws rocks at butterflies to begin with? Psychopaths. That's who. Now, Vivillon does have a few good things working in its favor despite this atrocious typing. And plus, Terra's a thing, but we'll touch on that in a little bit. So Vivillon does have 3 relatively great abilities, and that would be Shield Dust, Compoundeyes, and Friend Guard. Shield Dust protects Vivillon from the secondary effects of moves that are thrown its way, which, they kind of made that ability into the item, the Cover Cloak, so there you go. That could be nice and handy for Vivillon, but because Vivillon is so frail, I honestly think Compoundeyes or Friend Guard might be a little bit better for it. So Compoundeyes increases the accuracy of Vivillon's moves by 30%, and honestly, that can be relatively nice because this thing does get access to Hurricane, so if you wanted to go full on offensive with Vivillon, you could rock a Hurricane set, or you could go with Sleep Powder and increase the accuracy on that because Sleep Powder is a nice utility move for putting things to sleep. Now, Terra Grass does put a little bit of a damper on that, but hey, you have Hurricane to get around that too. Just food for thought. And then finally, there's Friend Guard. So Friend Guard makes it so that your partner in double battles doesn't take as much damage as they normally would. It reduces the power down to 75%, which is relatively handy. So let's talk some Terra options for Vivillon. If you want to embrace the purest, funniest form of the meme, you could go offensive butterfly with this by doing either Terra Bug or Terra Flying to double your stab. Vivillon gets access to Quiver Dance, which means you can get a free +1 to your special attack, special defense, and speed. And then from there, the base 90 and 89 stats are going to benefit. That 50, not so much. But anyways, you could go Quiver Dance on Vivillon and then run a Terra Bug or Terra Flying to double your stab. You get Bug Buzz and Pollen Puff on the special attacking bug side. And then on the flying side, you get Hurricane. Let that sink in. You get Terra Flying boosted Hurricane. That can be wonderful for dealing with grass types. If you wanted to go on the supportive side though and just use Vivillon to set up your partners, you could go with either Terra Dark or Terra Ghost. Terra Dark would protect Vivillon from status moves that are benefited by Prankster, meaning you wouldn't have to worry about Prankster Taunt shutting you down or Prankster boosted Thunder Waves, or if you want to go Terra Ghost, you could protect yourself from Fake Out. Vivillon is super frail, so at the end of the day, being able to run a Focus Sash on it is going to be nice, and then therefore making sure that Focus Sash doesn't get broken by a Fake Out would be even better, because Vivillon is definitely going to want that Focus Sash to survive at least one hit, especially if you are playing a supportive role with it. But on that note, if you are playing a supportive role with Vivillon, you might want to save your Terra for one of your other Pokemon instead, and that's more of a worst case scenario backup plan if you do want to run defensive Terra on Vivillon. But if you're going offensive Vivillon, power to you. Go Terra Flying. Or Terra Bug, I guess. Anyways, let's talk about some movesets. The first set here is going to be a supportive Vivillon set, which I'm using that term loosely because this thing is meant to disrupt the opponent with the use of Sleep Powder, Rage Powder, and Struggle Bug. Rounding out the moveset, we also have Tailwind to help support Vivillon's own team by doubling our speed for 4 turns, which is going to be relatively handy. Now, Vivillon is incredibly glassy, so we're going to use a Focus Sash to help patch it up and help ensure that we can live a hit in order to get off that initial Tailwind. And then we're going to go from there with Sleep Powder, Struggle Bug, or even Rage Powder. So what I was thinking as far as the EVs go is we're going to go max investment into our HP and our speed with a Timid Nature. And this might seem a little counterproductive with increasing the HP EVs while running a Focus Sash, but this is to help minimize the amount of damage we're going to take from a Fake Out. Because Vivillon is not grounded and it is part flying, it isn't immune to priority moves when Psychic Terrain is on the field. So this is just to help try to get around that. Now, on the speed side, this is a nice number to be at with 155 because once we have Tailwind set up, we are now faster than Iron Bundle with a booster energy speed boost by exactly 1 point, which means we're also faster than Fluttermane. So we can potentially shut down both of those Pokemon with Sleep Powder, and then that way that locks them out for a couple of turns, or we could weaken them with Struggle Bug by lowering their special attack 1 stage, and then allowing Vivillon's partner to potentially take them out if they were holding a Focus Sash instead. Now, we could also use Rage Powder to help support Vivillon's partner by pulling attacks away from its partner into itself. And because Vivillon is so glassy, this will cause Vivillon to faint, but at the end of the day, the nice thing here is this will allow Vivillon's partner to potentially set itself up and then pick up where Vivillon left off. Now, as far as our abilities go, we can run one of Vivillon's 3 abilities in the form of either Friend Guard or Compoundeyes. The nice thing with Friend Guard here is while it might be a little bit counterproductive with Rage Powder, the nice thing here is it's to help ensure we have a little bit of a counterplay to spread moves getting around Rage Powder by reducing the amount of damage that Vivillon's partners take. And then we can also run Compoundeyes to increase the reliability of Sleep Powder by raising the accuracy up from 75 to 97, which means we have a much more reliable sleep-inducing powder at our disposal because this thing doesn't get Spore. We have the next best thing with Sleep Powder and Compoundeyes. So that's the main thoughts on the supportive Vivillon. It's time to get into the offensive Butterfly. So forget the Paradox Mons. It's time to unleash the true threat onto Paldea, and that is going to be Vivillon, specifically offensive Vivillon. We're going to embrace the meme and go full throttle with this. We have Quiver Dance to increase our special attack, special defense, and speed, all 1 stage each time we use it. We have Compoundeyes to patch up Hurricane's shoddy accuracy of 70 and bring it up to 91. And on top of that, we can also benefit from having Sleep Powder increase its accuracy from 75 to 97, which means we are going to terrorize our opponents. We're going to go max investment into our special attack to bring us up to 142. And then we're going to use a Timid Nature with max investment to hit 155 points. We're going to use the remaining 4 points into our HP because why not? And now here's where we get into the juicy part of the strategy. What we're going to do here is we're going to pop that Terraflying button, and then we're going to have Hurricane go up from base 110 power to 220 with 91 accuracy. That's going to be fun, and our opponents are going to be wondering what hit them because this thing also does have 30% chance to confuse the target. So Hurricane is going to be absolutely bonkers. And on top of that, we also have Sleep Powder to also disrupt the opponent and put them to sleep. So if they survive the Hurricane, we're going to send them to Nap Nap Town as well with Sleep Powder having its accuracy increased as well. And plus, because we have a Focus Sash as our item, we can reliably live at least 1 hit thanks to Vivillon having that at full HP. And if we wanted to pair a Redirection setter next to Vivillon, like say maybe Friend Guard, Follow Me, Clefairy, and then really throw our opponents for a loop, we could do that as well. Now we could also use Pollen Puff for both damage and support as well. If we're a little bit worried about our partner Pokemon fainting, we could use Pollen Puff to restore their HP a little bit, or we could just go for raw damage because this is also a base 90 power special attack, and that's going to be relatively nice because let's talk about the numbers for a quick second. We are at 142 special attack. At +1, that puts us up to 213. At +1 for our speed, we're jumping from 155 to 232. All it takes is 1 Quiver Dance to make Vivillon into a massive threat, and that is hilarious to me. So anyways, that's what I was mainly thinking about offensive Vivillon. Let me know what you think of that, as well as the support Vivillon down in the comments below.